What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith at GSD Mode Studios with another Leveling Up episode. It's been a second since I've cranked out one of these Leveling Up episodes, and I felt compelled to crank another one out here, and wanted to talk about what I believe to be the most important topic, the most important thing overall that we can be doing on our success journeys, whichever element of your life that you're choosing to level up in, this applies. And I don't know of anything that's more important. Look, when it comes to our success journeys, at each different level, you're going to be leveling up. You're going to hit another ceiling, another capacity. You got to break through that ceiling. And we always have to become somebody different, become somebody more, be more, as my wall there says in the background. And, that's what I'm here to talk about today, which really boils down to effective self-development. So how to identify what to master. This becomes extremely important. So you know exactly precisely what you need to be focusing when it comes to your self-development, on what you need to be growing on, what you need to be expanding on, and so forth. How to identify then also the best method to go out there and identify it. There's going to be times where maybe it's a book. Maybe it's a podcast. Maybe it is a course. Maybe it's a coach. Maybe, there's a lot of different mediums that we can go out there and learn and grow and expand from. But we got to be able to quickly identify what do we need to be focusing on when it comes to our mastery in whatever point that we're in on our success journey. And then what is the best medium for me to go out there and master that thing? Each thing is going to be different. I've read a lot of books, listened to a lot of podcasts. I've taken insane amounts of courses. I've had lots of coaches over the years. And each one has served a different purpose for the different things that I've been looking to level up and grow. And then from there, this is going to allow you to become way, way more effective, but at the same time, much more efficient, meaning you're going to save yourself an insane amount of time. Most people, when it comes to their self-development, it's just wasted time. They're reading a lot of books, and I found myself on this trap as well. I went down this journey of, I'm just going to crank out a book a week because that's what I was told the average CEO of Fortune 500 company does. The average person that after graduating high school or college reads like one or two books over their entire life, where the average CEO reads like a book a week. So I found myself just cranking through books to get through these books, but I wasn't reading the right books at the right times. And I was just passing the time. It was really no better spent than if I was just binge watching some bullshit on Netflix and so forth. So all of these we're going to break down here in this Leveling Up episode here today. And like I mentioned, we talk about success so much, talk about growth so much. But when I say that there's nothing more important on your success journey, in my opinion, than this, I truly mean it. Because if you look at this, what is success? It's a becoming process. At each time, if we want to hit that next level of success, we got to become somebody different. We got to grow our resources and our skill sets, and so forth throughout this journey. And I haven't found anything that comes close to holding weight to what we're going to be breaking down here today. All right. So most people, and I kind of talked about this with, the journey I went through just cranking out books, but most people follow a just in case self-development methodology. Meaning, and I see this all the time, whether it be in my own, real estate company with my agents reaching out to me, or, with podcasts or with my coaching clients and so forth, a common thing that I get is, hey, I'm looking for a book recommendation. I need a good book. What would you recommend? I'm like, dude, I'm glad to see you out there looking for a book and wanting a book, but that alone is a terrible question, right? Because there's so many great books that I've read, but is it the right book or a great book for you in that moment of your life? So we need to identify that. That's just a just in case element, right? We're just reading stuff that may apply, may not apply, or just taking a recommendation off of somebody else. How do you know if that's the book that you need? So it's switching from this just in time to a just in case. Now I have a lot of just in case books. I'm sorry, just in case to just in time. I have just in case books, in my backpack that I carry with me. It's, kind of my office backpack. Plus, when I go out hiking and so forth, I just kind of have one backpack I do everything with. Well, in there, I've got an outside survival guide. It's a little pocket book that goes in there. Now, I'm not reading that, binging that, mastering that. Right. But I have it in my backpack just in case I get stranded, in a mountain somewhere and I got to figure out how to start a fire, in the middle of nature and acquire food and build shelter, all those things. If I'm in that scenario, I've got a book on how to go out there and fix my truck. Right now, like I'm not turning wrenches on my truck. I don't know how to change my own oil. I haven't, but I've got a reference guide, if you will, just in case those scenarios come up. But those are just in case books, right? Just in time is solving a problem that I have right now that's going on, a good problem or a bad problem, right? Problems can be both. A problem that I'm experiencing that I can, as I'm learning that knowledge and growing and expanding in these new skill sets, I'm able to apply those live time. So we're switching from this just in case to just in time. And I'm going to walk you through what I've come up with over the years of what I call my mastery framework. So in being a company owner, real estate company owner, if you will, and supporting a lot of agents and staff and so forth, I found frameworks to be really important because there's no one road path. We all have different strengths, we all have different weaknesses, we all have different innate abilities and things we're good at, things we're shitty at, and so forth. So it's a slightly different journey than anybody else. So over the years, as I've been trying to reverse engineer, my success journeys and other success journeys, I found frameworks I like to operate with frameworks. I found them to be very effective because they can apply to all people, even though the different scenarios are different. So think of a framework as an equation, right? So it's an equation, a formula, and so forth. So my mastery framework is this, and I'm going to break these down separately, but it starts with identify. So you go from identify, then to study, then to understand to implement, then from implement to proven results. So if we start breaking this down, it all starts with identify. So we need to identify, and how you identify what it is that you need to master is by asking yourself this extremely important question. You should be asking yourself this question throughout your entire career. There should be no point where you stop asking yourself this question, because if you do, or once you do, that's where you start decay, right? There is no such thing as maintenance mode in life. You're either growing and expanding, or you're starting the decay process. Even though you might be feeling like you're maintaining in this moment, eventually, dude, you're going to be caught with your pants down and get yourself in a rough position. So it's asking yourself this question: is what is the one thing, whether that be an obstacle or an opportunity, what is the one thing that if I dial in this one thing in my business right now would have the biggest immediate impact and get me that much closer to the goals that I have, whether it's business, life, that's going to be applied to, anything that you want to go out there and master. It's not just for real estate or just for business, can pertain to anything that you need to level up in life. And I've had moments in my life where, maybe it's, I'm depressed and I've got a bad negative mindset. Maybe it's a time management issue, maybe it's mastering online marketing or Facebook marketing, whatever it may be, hiring process, there's so many different pieces that this can go. And look, you guys, we're never going to know everything. And there's going to be different phases throughout your success journey that it makes sense to master certain things. When you're new in the business, it's like, okay, you're having to master your presentations, your buyer consultation, your listing presentation, having to master your lead generation, your lead follow-up, mastering your CRM, getting down and kind of mastering your tracking system, all of these different things. Well, then as you progress, you might get to the point where, hey, you got to start mastering your ability to go out there and hire an assistant or hire agents, train agents, and work with agents. So you're going to have these different things that you got to master at different times in your career. If I'm brand new, why am I trying to master how to hire agents when I'm still trying to figure out how to go out there and generate clients, and generate my own business, right? So again, repeating that question, what is the one thing? And I break it down to one thing, right? We're going to study one thing at a time, get that thing dialed in, then boom, go to the next thing, then the next thing, right? So what is the one thing? Now, whether that be, I like to use the word obstacle, whether it's good or bad, right? But I throw in the word opportunity because, I've been told by some of my teammates over the years that obstacle is too negative of a term, so however you want to look at it. But when I look at an obstacle, I'm like, look, dude, obstacles sometimes can be negative. I might be experiencing some pain in my business or my life or so forth, right? But then when everything's going really good, and this is almost when it's even more important to be asking yourself this question, when everything's going really good, it's, okay, what is the one area that I can take from good to exceptional, from good to great, from great to exceptional, that would then make the biggest immediate impact on my business right now? And that's important. The biggest immediate impact on your business right now, that's really important. So that's going to be the identifier. So we're going to then identify what that thing is. Then once you identify what that thing is, then from there, you can start looking at the medium. Okay, what's the best way for me to learn this thing? There's certain things like, dude, if you're needing to learn accounting, and get, a decent understanding of accounting and profit loss statements and balance sheets, okay, like there's a lot of great textbooks and books to go out there and learn that thing. If I'm going to want to learn, let's just say Facebook ads, I'm probably going to go out there and do a course, right? A book. I haven't found books to be effective, on that. I'm probably going to go out there and take courses from people that are, very effective with Facebook ads, and so forth, right? So I can then from there identify, okay, what's the best way for me to learn this? Is it going to be a book? Is it going to be, a conversation? Sometimes it's just, hey, I got to go out there and find somebody and identify somebody and develop a relationship with somebody, or get them to allow me to take them out to dinner or whatever. Somebody that's dialed this thing in, it only takes an hour conversation. Sometimes it is a longer term coach, a relationship where maybe I need a coach, maybe I need a consultant, maybe I need a course, so identifying the best medium, best method to go out there and identify that. And that's also dealing in realities with yourself. I know, I don't need to have somebody to hold my hand, hold me accountable, and so forth. I need the intel. I need the information. I'll go out there and execute. I don't need anybody telling me to get my ass out of bed in the morning and get to the office, and so forth. It's different for everybody, right? Some people might, need their hand held and they're not driven enough in their own life to go out there and create their own success, and they need a babysitter. Hopefully that's not you. I doubt that's you if you're watching this, right? But if you need a babysitter, then go hire a babysitter, whatever that looks like. But it's going to be, it can be different based on your learning style. Also with what it is that you're looking to solve. It's like when I was looking to go out there and learn how to build out spreadsheets so I could start building out my own data trackers, and so forth. Okay, I went to Udemy and bought a $10 course on that, spent 4 hours on a Sunday learning that process, and then boom, now I know how to go out there and build those spreadsheets. I utilize Udemy a lot, where it's a $10 so I can go out there and learn, a lot of different shit. If I want to learn how to do Google pay-per-click or Facebook ads, like Udemy, $10 courses, can be very effective. So you're going to now that you've identified the thing, you can then identify the best medium. But in addition to that, then I'm looking at identifying whom is the best person to learn from. And I'll give an example here. When I was, really trying to learn and dial in and master Facebook ads, I went out there and I started just, taking a bunch of different courses and, just went out there and, okay, well, who's kicking ass in business? And I wasn't paying attention to which sector of business that they're in. Meaning, I went out there and I started to take a bunch of e-commerce courses. And I quickly realized that e-commerce is way different than my strategies, that now I deploy when it comes to my real estate business. I have an e-commerce business, so I guess it did help me in my e-commerce business, but that intel I learned there is irrelevant to my real estate business. So I'm also looking for, I only learn from those that have created the success in the way that I want to create success. So who's done it? Who's went from where I'm at to where I want to be? Who's created? Who's the biggest badass that I can find that's either written the book, that has created the course, that coaches, whatever it may be, that I can learn from the actual doers. I want to understand and learn, from people that are actually applying this in their real life, not just people that are maybe studying other people or that read some books and they claim to be an expert. No, like who's kicking ass at this thing that has a proven track record and proven results. So then now I know what the medium is, book, course, whatever, coach, so forth. And then I know who I'm going to learn from. Like I spend more time identifying the book I'm going to read than I do actually reading the book. But this makes sure that I'm reading the right books, right? And same thing with courses and so forth, where I eliminate that waste. So that's the identify part of the process, which arguably is the most important element of this process. Because if you get that wrong, you're fucked with everything else. You're just wasting time. So we're going to identify. Then once you identify, then we go into study. I don't say learn, I say study, because the difference is most people passively learn. So, you're taking an online course, you got other videos up, you're checking emails, you're just kind of, hearing that in the background and you're retaining maybe 5-10% of that, or you're reading a book, you read it once to get through. And then if I were to ask you about that book 6 months from now, about the key takeaways, what you learned, what you implemented, the results you got from it, 999 out of 1,000 are like a deer looking at the headlights when I ask them that question, because they just passively learn. So when I say study, think back to when you got your real estate license. Think back to when you were in college or high school and you're studying for a really important exam, a really important test that that you're going to be tested on that knowledge. What are you doing? You're reading it, you're rereading it, you're underlining it, you're highlighting it, you're taking notes on it, you're going re-reviewing it and over and over and over. I know that the average human mind, according to NASA, only retains 10% of what they learned the first time around. So, I don't typically just read a book once. If it's a book that I need to gain knowledge knowledge from that I'm learning to master, it's not unlikely that I ripped through that thing 6 times. And there's been certain books where I've had to do it a dozen times. There's certain courses where I've went through those courses dozens of times, not just to really study it so I can understand the knowledge, but then using it as a reference guide to re-reference as I'm going through it and so forth. So we want to study to the point where we then truly understand, because you got identify, study, understand. So you can't really see, if I were to draw these out for those of you watching this, let's see if I have one sheet of paper here. I've got my identify, and then I just have, these arrows, right? So identify, study, understand. So you can see that, right? So it's, I'm going to identify what the thing is, then it's study. So I'm going through these different phases. You can't barely see that there, but it's identify. Then I move forward to the study phase. And I'm going to stay in that study phase until I truly understand what it is that I'm learning, right? So, and here's, because if going back to the test analogy with your real estate exam or in college, whatever, we all have those. A point in our life where we had to go out there and really study something and that we were tested on this. Now in the business world, you're not taking the written test, right? Your test of your true understanding on this, or what are the results that you produce from this? It's your bank account, dude, when it comes to this. So I'm going to make sure that I study it to the point where I understand it. Then once I understand it at a high enough level, and only when I understand a high enough level, then can I effectively implement on that thing. And then once I effectively implement on that thing, then boom, I'm going to get the proven results that I'm after. So that means the proven results are, I've now solved that obstacle, right? I've solved that. What is the one thing, the biggest obstacle or the biggest opportunity currently in my business, that if I get this thing dialed in, it'll take my business or my life to the next level, right? Well, once I prove, like I've gotten those proven results, that means boom, I've solved that problem and now I'm at that next level. And then I'm going to identify a new thing, right? What's the next new thing? And I'm going to just repeat the overall process. Now, here's what's cool about this. If I'm not getting the proven results because you can start reverse engineering this. If I'm not getting the proven results that I'm looking to achieve here, well, then I know that I didn't implement it effectively. Now, there can be 2 reasons for this. Maybe you just got lazy on the implementation. It's happened to me before. Maybe I'm setting up a Facebook ad. I forgot to click a button, or I didn't QC the process, or I was rushed in a moment. Okay, maybe I just forgot something, so I'm going to go back through there. Okay, like have I checked all the boxes here? And if I've implemented it to the best of my knowledge at that point, and I'm still not getting the proven results that I need to get, that means then I don't understand it enough to get those proven results. So now I got to go back to the study mode, but then from there, okay, well, I can start to identify what parts that I've implemented are working and not working and so forth. So then I can kind of peel back the onion layers on what I need to study that much more to understand and so forth. So again, it's identify what it is that you need to get dialed in inside your business, inside your life, whatever it may be. Because sometimes in this crazy business world of business that we're all in, it can be life stuff that we need to get dialed in to take. I've had times where it's like, all right, dude, I need to solve this issue that I have with alcohol to get my business to the next level, because this is blocking my ability, to go out there and think, and my ability to go out there and be 100% each and every day, and to lead effectively and have the energy that I need. That was a personal issue, but it was pouring into my business. Okay, well, I had to go out there and follow this process to get that dialed in and figure that out, right? So that's why I say in business and in life, and just identity, because it all just, I don't live in this world where I try to separate business and personal life, because it just, especially in this industry, dude, or not just in this industry, but when you're an entrepreneur, dude, it's all just life. They all just intersect, right? So I'm just looking like, I know my personal life will impact my business will impact my personal life. To me, it's just all life, right? So I'm going to identify what that thing is that I need to dial in to get my business or my life to the next level. Then from there, I'm going to identify the medium, and simultaneously with that, the right person to learn from when it comes to that. Or person, sometimes it's multiple people I'm learning from to solve that problem, through these different phases. Then I'm going to study it. and I'm going to study it at a deep, deep level until the point where I truly understand it. Once I understand it, then boom, I'm going to go to the implementation phase. And when I'm implementing, I'm going to keep implementing and keep this process going until I get those proven results that I want. And then I'm repeating the process, right? So then now I've taken myself to, because every time you level up, you're going to have new problems, right? The more success that you create, the bigger your problems tend to be. So you're going to always be applying this process. And I'm telling you that the second that you stop applying this process is the second that you stop growing as a person, growing as an entrepreneur. And that's where you're going to find yourself in a world of trouble. So this is just a repetitive process, that goes through. But if you do this right, it's going to, again, save you a tremendous amount of time. So you're going to eliminate all the wasted books and courses and, so forth. A common thing that I get asked too all the time is, hey, look for the coach. What coach would you recommend? I'm like, dude, that's a bad question. Right? Like I'm going to go through this process. And if I identify that the medium is a coach, then, okay, who is the best coach that I can hire, that I can afford to hire, that I can learn from, that's dialed in this process, right? Everybody's got strengths, weaknesses, and so forth. It can even identify me, because again, whether it's, I don't care what the medium is that I've got to go for learning it, but I'm just going to identify the best medium for me, for that thing that I'm learning, and the best person to go out there and learn from for that. So, and it's going to, again, save you a ton of time, allow you to be laser focused, solve the necessary problems that you need to solve, and make sure that you're continuing on your leveling up in your overall growth and success journey. So anyway, I hope that you found this helpful. Keep crushing, keep kicking ass. I'll see you next time. Peace.